episode 16 of Law and Batting Order. I'm your host, Tony Oyakostas. Before I begin today's episode, I wanted to share something very special. It was my birthday this past week, and my parents did something amazing. They actually put Law and Batting Order's logo on my cake. Check it out. I mean, is that redonkulous or what? What up? Anyway, here are some quick hits from the past week. March Madness has come to an end for both the men's and women's college basketball teams. On the women's side, the Baylor Lady Bears, led by Brittany Griner, beat Notre Dame 80-61. The Lady Bears finished their season 40-0, becoming the first NCAA women's basketball team to ever finish with a perfect season. Then on the men's side, the University of Kentucky Wildcats took on the University of Kansas Jayhawks for the title, and the Jayhawks bowed to the brow. Anthony Davis and his famous unibrow silenced Kansas as they went on to win the championship title. There is speculation that Anthony Davis, among other Kentucky freshmen, will enter the NBA draft this year. But in the meantime, Davis and his teammates are basking in the glory of this victory. Get your baseballs and mitts, kids, because opening day in MLB has officially commenced. On Wednesday, the World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals faced the Miami Marlins oddly on the road. The Marlins opened up Marlins Park on Wednesday, and they lost to the Cards sans Albert Pujols. Other notable opening day games included Johan Santana helping lead the Mets to a victory over the Braves, the Washington Nationals defeating the Cubs in Steven Strasburg's return to the majors after coming off Tommy John surgery, and the Detroit Tigers beating Bobby Valentine's Red Sox 3-2. More stories have come out regarding the New Orleans Saints Bounty Fund. On Thursday, audio of a pregame speech that Gregg Williams delivered during the NFC Divisional Series game between the Saints and San Francisco 49ers was released to the public. The audio contains an incredibly graphic nature, Williams instructing the Saints defensive players to, quote, kill the head and the body will die. He also told players to attack certain players and hit them in certain spots. The audio can be heard by clicking the annotation on the right-hand side of the screen or by clicking the link below this video. Just as a warning, the audio is laden with profanity, so viewer discretion is advised. Williams is suspended indefinitely for his involvement in the Saints Bounty Fund, and this audio is likely to put the kibosh on his coaching career. Today's Order in the Court will be discussing the recent arrest of former NFL draft bust Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf was a quarterback who came out of Washington State and was deemed to be the best quarterback alongside Peyton Manning in the 1998 NFL Draft. The San Diego Chargers drafted the quarterback, and it ended up being a complete bust. Not only did his NFL career completely fail, but he faced many run-ins with the law. The most recent event happened last week when he was arrested twice in Montana. One arrest was on drug possession charges, and the other was on burglary charges. Leaf is currently being held in jail in Montana, and law enforcement officials in Montana are reaching out to Texas authorities since he was placed on probation in Texas in 2010. The unfortunate legal trouble that Ryan Leaf has endured throughout his career makes this case particularly interesting, since he could face significant jail time for his actions. Thus, today's video will be discussing the following issue. Could Ryan Leaf be found guilty of burglary and drug charges under Montana statute for each respective crime? Regarding drug charges, the facts are very vague. Very little information is available. All we know is that the Central Montana Drug Task Force investigated Leaf for a whole month into suspicious cash-on-demand packages he allegedly received from a post office box address in Florida. A subsequent search of Leaf's residence and pickup truck turned up several illegal prescription pills and an empty prescription bottle belonging to an acquaintance of Leaf's who said his medication was stolen from his home. It is very likely that Leaf could be in violation of Montana statute regarding drug possession. Montana's annotated code section 45-9-10 subsection 1 states that a person commits the offense of criminal possession of dangerous drugs if the person possesses any dangerous drug. In this case, we know that Leaf was in possession of prescription drugs. These drugs are not marijuana, opiates, or steroids as laid out in this statute, but technically Leaf could be in possession of a dangerous drug under MCA section 50-32-201, which lays out certain factors of determining what is a dangerous drug. The most important subsections in this statute are subsections 1, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which allude to the actual or relative potential for abuse, the history and current pattern of abuse, the scope, duration, and significance of abuse, the risk to the public health, and the potential of the drug to produce psychic or physiological dependence liability. If it is found out that Leaf is in possession of a dangerous drug, then he could be punished under Section 45-9-10, subsection 6, which states that a person convicted of criminal possession of dangerous drugs shall be imprisoned in the state prison for a term not to exceed 5 years or be fined an amount not to exceed $50,000 or both. Essentially, the burden is on the prosecution to prove that Leaf was in possession of a dangerous drug. They must prove that Leaf abused the drug for a significant period of time and that his use of the drug deteriorated his health in some way. Most importantly, of course, they can argue that Leaf was in possession of the drug since Montana's Drug Task Force investigated Leaf for 1 month and caught him in the act. If the facts work in the prosecution's favor, then Leaf could face significant jail time, definitely 5 years and maybe more if there are multiple drug charges against Leaf. Aside from drug charges, Ryan Leaf could face jail time on burglary charges. The facts show that Leaf burglarized a homeowner of a mobile home and took 3 medication bottles. MCA section 45-6-204 subsection 1 states the following. A person commits the offense of burglary if the person knowingly enters or remains unlawfully in an occupied structure and the person has the purpose to commit an offense in the occupied structure, or the person knowingly or purposely commits any other offense within that structure. Furthermore, subsection 3 states, a person convicted of the offense of burglary shall be imprisoned in the state prison for any term not to exceed 20 years or be fined an amount not to exceed $50,000 or both. The prosecution's argument can be very simple here. All they need to argue is that Ryan Leaf knowingly entered an occupied structure, which in this case is a mobile home. Knowingly, as we have discussed in previous episodes, means that the defendant is practically certain that a prohibited conduct will lead to a prohibited result. In this case, it could be argued that Leaf knew he was unlawfully entering or trespassing someone's home. Furthermore, it was Leaf's purpose or goal to commit an offense upon entering the home. In this case, it was stealing prescription medication to feed his addiction. The facts are limited, but from what we know, the homeowners claimed that 3 bottles of medication were stolen and they witnessed Leaf leaving their home. The conclusion that can be drawn there is that Leaf entered the home, stole the bottles, and retreated as quickly as he could. This case could be very interesting, especially because Leaf is on probation in Texas. Nevertheless, it seems likely that if Ryan Leaf were to be found guilty under Montana statutes of drug possession and burglary, he could face significant jail time. Before I conclude today's episode, I just wanted to make a quick programming note that after next Sunday's episode, which would be episode 17 on April 15th, I will be taking a break from Law and Batting Order. I'll be preparing for finals and then taking a vacation. But don't worry, folks, I'll be relaunching a new episode of Law and Batting Order on June 4th. Anyway, that's the show. Leave all your comments down below and be sure to visit Law and Batting Order at lawandbattingorder.com, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, have a great week, guys.